Hello, glad you're here. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours. All right, it's Friday the 13th right now, but tomorrow in my world, in this world, in this timeline, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, but I'll wish you a happy Valentine's Eve and a happy Valentine's Day. This episode has something for everyone. So long as you're interested in startups, it has something for everyone. I'll be talking about VCs. I'll be talking about angels, and I'll be talking about bootstrapping. So the full spectrum of startup accoutrement we will be talking about this time. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, I wanted to talk about Oregon Venture Fund. They are the largest, most well-established fund in the community. And so a lot of founders here wind up as part of Oregon Venture Fund deal flow. Quite often, I am asked by founders, like, what's the selection process? How do they make their decisions? What do they think about? A few years back, OVF published a rubric, if you will, of how they analyze companies and what stage they're at and their expectations and what they want to see and la, 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 la. And it really helped people have a better understanding of what Oregon Venture Fund was focused on doing. But here's the thing. In the era of AI, things have changed drastically from the world of SaaS. You have to take kind of a different vantage point, different framing of AI startups. And of course, OVF had to think about this different framing of AI startups. And so what they did was release a new rubric specifically for AI startups. And I'll bring it up here. I'll kind of float around on it. But you will see they share the funding stages for an AI application. They give you kind of pre-seed, seed, and Series A as examples of what they're looking at and give you like product market fit, go to market, vision, product, leadership team, customer traction, even revenue expectations. So if you are building an AI startup and you are considering pitching to Oregon Venture Fund, I highly encourage you to look at this rubric, figure out where you fit in terms of the stage of business you're building, and look at the expectations and kind of requirements that Oregon Venture Fund has. It will save you a lot of pain, save you a lot of time, and make sure that you are talking to OVF when you should be, and not talking to them with expectations that will not be met because of what they're using to really, kind of judge you and your startup and the business you're building. But I appreciate the transparency. Always appreciate transparency from investors of any kind, but especially local investors that are seeking to help the local ecosystem and local founders. It's always nice to see them being more open about their selection process. Okay, continuing with the equity-based financing bit, not VCs, but we're moving to angels. As I mentioned last week or a few weeks ago, I don't know, time is a construct. Uh, Angel Oregon is kicking off their new year. That's our friends at Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, OEN, as the cool kids call it. OEN's Angel Oregon has 3 tracks, and they're kicking off the whole thing for 2026. And I wanted to give you the dates and expectations for each of the tracks, as well as when they'll be announcing the winners. Okay, so one track is Angel Oregon Technology. That's for all you sassy software, AI, maybe even hardware these days kind of people. If you're interested in pursuing angel funding for that kind of thing, that takes place March 3rd through April 7th. They have a curriculum and a program, and like it's both educational and competitive. So, like college or high school, or I don't know. Anyway, they not only help you get in front of angel investors potentially, but they also kind of help educate you on what the process is, what you should be doing, how you should be telling your story, all that kind of thing. So Angel Oregon Technology, March 3rd through April 7th. Winners will be announced in August. The second one is Angel Oregon Consumer Packaged Goods. This used to be Angel Oregon Food, but remember I told you they rebranded as CPG. So if you're working on the food and beverage, if you're working on the snacks or the other kind of packaged goods, maybe you're packaging, I don't know, apparel or something. Like if you're doing CPG, maybe you're doing edibles, maybe you're doing something else that's CPG. If that's the case, clearly it's Friday night and I'm a little wiped. If you're working in CPG and are interested in getting, as I said, support with your pitch, training on what angels expect, and maybe potentially getting in front of those angels to make your pitch, that takes place March 4th through April 8th is the programming, with the winners announced in June. And then finally, the one that feels like the heaviest, most scientific, maybe most difficult, largest kind of hurdle and probably most confusion is Angel Oregon Life and Bioscience. So if you're working on something, maybe it's a medical device, maybe it's a electronic health record, maybe it's a series of clinics, maybe it's some kind of like formulary or I don't know, something in life and bioscience. You're really pushing me to come up with examples here, and I am failing spectacularly when I fail, and I fail often. I often choose to fail spectacularly. I can't even say spectacularly. So anyway, Angel Oregon Life and Bioscience takes place March 5th through May 9th. But again, because it's so complex, winners will not be announced till December. So that's Angel Oregon this year. I, of course, will link up to the OEN site if you want to get more information about OEN or more information about Angel Oregon and the track you want to compete in. There is a cost associated with it, but there's a lot of value associated with it as well. So that's the stuff for Angel Oregon. Now for you bootstrappers who've been hanging around saying, hey, I'm tired of all the equity-based financing. I don't want to chase VC. I don't want to chase angel investors. I want to build a product that generates enough revenue to sustain the product, the business, the staff, all those kind of folks. I want to bootstrap. Well, if you're that kind of founder who's interested in bootstrapping, I've got something for you as well. MicroConf, which is the largest gathering of like solo bootstrappers, independent businesses that are focused on bootstrapping their businesses. They're coming to Portland for their big MicroConf US event. It'll be at the Nines over a few days. Tickets are in the $1,000 range, but I've talked to a few people who've been before or people who've been through Tiny Seed, which is their accelerator program. Talk to those folks and they're like, there's a lot of value to be had at this event. Also, there will be a lot of people from all over the US who are bootstrappers who come to attend this event as well. So if you are bootstrapping or if you are considering building a business and bootstrapping it, MicroConf US could be a really great opportunity for you to engage with that community. It's coming here in April. Tickets are going fast, so I highly suggest you grab your tickets now. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from the MicroConf US folks about their experience here in Portland. Okay, and then finally, like, I don't know, maybe you're looking for some bad news. Maybe you're looking for like some doom and gloom about Portland. And if you are, I have plenty of that for you as well. I don't know what was going on at the Portland Business Journal this week, but like the entire issue, like the big in-depth reporting for this week was all about the awful economy and the lack of jobs and the loss of population and all the kind of things that are not going well in Portland and Oregon. And then I clicked on to the YouTube and saw that Andrew Hone from the Portland Chamber, as well as somebody from Eco Northwest who does analysis, they were talking about how bad things were. Now, I'm not saying we need to like brush this on, what do you sweep it? You sweep it under the carpet? I'm not saying we have to sweep it under the carpet. I'm not saying we shouldn't I'm not saying we shouldn't be having these conversations. all I'm saying is this week was a lot of doom and gloom. And I think, at this point in time, it really behooves us to take that information in, process it, and then think about how we're going to respond to it. Because I do think that it's important to know how bad things are, because it also reveals potential opportunities for improvement, or potential opportunities for doing things differently, or potential opportunities for getting really creative and doing something interesting. But this, I think, is the most important part of this whole thing that I don't want you to forget. No matter how much doom and gloom you hear, you and your startup are the key to saving this economy. Because as we all know, net new job growth does not come from existing employers in the region. It does not come from importing new companies to the region or attracting new companies. Those are all good things. It's great if local employers are hiring people. It's great if new companies decide the region is somewhere that they want to be or that they need a presence. Undoubtedly, those are good things and things that should be happening. But the number one most important thing, the number one source of net new job growth in our economy comes from entrepreneurs and startups. And that's why it's important that you are doing what you do, keep doing what you do, and do everything you possibly can to be successful with that pursuit, because you are key to our economic recovery. So I'm going to say it a little early this time. Please keep up the good work. Okay. Now we're on to secrets. This is where my energy level goes down and I'm more realistic. Wow, it was heavy this week. That stuff I was talking about. Yeah, it was a lot. This week for me, I dropped a new podcast episode. I got the chance to talk to David Gorey from Airbuild, winner of Demolicious Champion of Champions 2024. Quick conversation, but some really good insights. I'll link that up if you're interested in watching it. Oh, yeah, and he's speaking at the I'm just looking at my notes. He's speaking at the Silicon Forest Tech Summit, which I highly encourage you to attend. I'm working on something special. It's taking place on March 14th. That's 3/14. That's 3.14. That means it's Pi Day. Pi Day. Pi Spider. Pi Day. When anybody who knows me knows that pi is near and dear to my heart. So I will be here. Not going to wind up making it to South by this year. Things kind of just fell into weird places. So I will definitely be here for Silicon Forest Tech Summit. And I hope to see you there along with thousands of other people from the region, because it should be great. This week, one of my favorite things, and I don't know how I got so lucky to do this, thanks to the Japan America Society of Oregon for helping set this up. This is like something that happens more regularly than I even expect, and I always cherish it. Got the opportunity to sit down with a representative from Toyama Prefecture, and they were here just exploring Portland and exploring Oregon. And I always appreciate getting to share stuff about our startup community, about some of the accelerator work that I've done. And it's just always really rewarding. So arigato gozaimasu for coming. Really appreciate it. And always looking forward to hosting our friends from Japan when they swing by Portland. Always relish the opportunity to get the opportunity to chat with them and look forward to my next opportunity to go visit them. Toyama, we had the chance to talk with a lot of folks from Toyama Prefecture, and have never. I got the chance to go to the kind of the East Coast of Japan, but haven't ever been to the West Coast, which is where Toyama is. So no, I mean, yeah, if things work out, who knows? But that was really rewarding, and I always appreciate their questions, and I always feel so stupid because I'm like, I don't know, I just got lucky. Like this just happened. I tried it. We tried this thing. I tried this thing. This worked. This didn't. It was stupid luck, right place at the right time. I don't know how to tell you to do it, but still, really appreciate they keep showing up, even though they probably go back and they're like, this dude does not know what he's talking about. Don't waste any time with him. But they continue to waste time with me, and I am thankful for it. As always, wound up talking to a ton of founders and a few investors this week. Just kind of wayfinding. Some of it was just like critique on things or sounding board. So that's good. I, made some intros, lots of connecting dots and all that kind of thing. And my little product that I vibe coded that's basically like a GitHub kind of grid that kind of shows me when I'm making intros. Like I want to get that filled up a little bit this week. Been posting a lot more on the Portland Startup Slack. If you're interested in hanging out with folks in the community in kind of a virtual way, or maybe connecting with people, Portland Startup Slack is good for that. It's just pdxslack.com. We'll get you in to that, and you can come hang out, meet people. There are about 8,000 profiles on there now. They're not all active, but you meet quite a few people on there, and I've been posting more and more, trying to get people more engaged and chatty on there. So there's that. Did that this week. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna kind of cut. Usually in secrets, I give you like my real, like where I am, but I've been so negative the past few weeks that I'm still being fake Silicon Florist Rick right now, really positive and peppy. So I'm going to let you go so that I can kind of degrade into where I actually am emotionally without subjecting you to it. And I'm going to say it one more time. It's always great to get the chance to hang out. I hope you're hanging in there. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.